Hello everyone and welcome back to the YumYum Report, bringing you bite-sized updates from theme parks around Australia, as well as occasional updates from theme parks around the world. Before we start, I'd like to give a special thanks to my channel members, Koala75 and Lee Donald. Thank you so much. This week we took a quick visit into Dreamworld to see what was new, and the first thing we spotted was that Jungle Rush was down for maintenance, which usually would be disappointing, but today was exciting because we know they're adding new things to Rivertown and Jungle Rush. As we entered the park, we noticed that Sky Voyager is still down for maintenance. It's unclear whether they're adding anything to the experience or whether it's just some TLC, but I guess we'll wait and see. I can't stop rhyming whenever I make videos, apparently. We also noticed that there's work underway on the fire station, which is all boarded off and fenced up. It's unclear what's happening with this, but on closer inspection it looks like they've re-floored the area to more of a padded flooring, which kind of insinuates it could be some sort of interactive space like a playground or maybe a new water feature. Theme Park Ogre pointed out that in the past they did used to have some sort of fire hose game here which you could play, so it would be cool to see them turn this into something interactive. What do you think it could be? Let me know in the comments. Next we moved along to Rivertown, which is my favourite area of Dreamworld. It's only been open for a few months now, but it feels like such a long time and it feels like it's always been here. Still no news on the train tracks yet, but hopefully we see some progress soon. And also, as far as I'm aware, there haven't been any updates to Motorcoaster, so hopefully we see some progress on that as well. They did recently add this new logo to the side of the building, however, which kind of means that they might be keeping it for some time. And of course, Jungle Rush was closed, as I said at the beginning of the video. The area was gated off with the gatekeeper of Jungle Rush sitting there at the entrance. We weren't sure why it was closed. We had a feeling that they might be adding something, which I'll get to later. It's always nice sitting by the Murrissippi River, and I can't help wondering what they're going to add here in the future. Do you think they'll add in a new attraction or bring back the paddle steamer? It really is such a nice, relaxing space, and it's amazing having the island there in the middle, which I wonder if they'll add something there as well. Thankfully, Murrissippi Motors was still open with a very short queue time of about 15 minutes. The space is growing in very well and the plants are slowly getting taller and making it feel a bit more full. They have taken down some of the trees in the distance, which makes the area much more viewable from different angles. Maybe this is in preparation for the reopening of the Dreamworld Express, but we'll see what comes up in the future. I'm a big fan of the queue for Murrissippi Motors. It definitely reminds me of the Jungle Cruise at Hong Kong Disneyland and Tokyo Disneyland, and I really enjoy seeing the little touches of theming around the station and queue. It definitely builds on the atmosphere when there is some kind of storyline. One detail I really enjoy about Murrissippi Motors is that each ride vehicle has a different animal on top. Although the queue time was advertised at about 15 minutes, it was practically walk-on for us, as we were basically the only other guests here. I'm sorry if the footage is a little bit shaky. I brought my main camera on this time, which doesn't have the best stabilization. I usually would bring my DJI Pocket with me, but I wanted to get some more cinematic style footage and be able to zoom in. I do really appreciate the fact that you can bring a camera on this ride, which reminds me of Disney parks. It's awesome being able to get some cool angles of Jungle Rush, as well as the Caribou Plain, which I still can't believe is actually here. It's absolutely enormous and so cool to look at. We couldn't quite see if there was anything going on Jungle Rush from Murrissippi Motors, but it was cool to have a closer look and have a little peek behind the fencing. As I mentioned, I'm really excited to see how the area looks when some of these trees grow in a little bit more. And going past the Caribou Plain, there is a cool little Easter egg here, which is a throwback to one of Dreamworld's old attractions, Thunderbolt. I'm really impressed that they've included some of these throwbacks, and I think it's such a cool touch. I'm not sure if I've spotted every Easter egg on Murrissippi Motors. Let me know what your favourite Easter egg on Murrissippi Motors is in the comments, and I'll be interested to see if there's anything I haven't noticed yet. My personal favourite is definitely the Kenyon Belinda paintings on this stone structure. I also just noticed that this particular painting seems to be a reference to the gemstone on top of Jungle Rush. It's really cool that they've integrated a storyline throughout the whole Rivertown area, which you kind of pick up naturally through osmosis and just noticing little details. I've mentioned in the past that I'm interested in film and storytelling, and theme park storytelling is kind of a new concept to me where you pick up on the story through interacting with it, which I think is really exciting. I think that's such a cool idea, and I think Dreamworld has done it incredibly well with Rivertown, although I would like to see some additions made in the future with maybe some performances or shows. At the moment, I would personally say that Rivertown is the most successfully integrated precinct in Australia. I think they've done an amazing job at pulling it off straight through from the concept until the final delivery, of course. I'm very impressed. My favourite part of Murrissippi Motors would have to be driving through these little streams. I think that's such a cool touch that you kind of miss on other vintage car attractions. The interaction with the environment and the change of terrain. I am curious if they're going to add anything new to Murrissippi Motors, or if it will mainly just be the plants and trees growing in. What kind of additions would you like to see made to Murrissippi Motors? Let me know in the comments. I feel like some little touches, like maybe some more audio, or things like the snakes maybe like spitting water at you as you drive past, would make it a bit more exciting. I don't personally feel like the ride really needs many changes made to it or new additions. I think it's already in a really good shape, but I would be interested to hear your thoughts, so let me know if you do have any ideas. Anyway, we had a great time riding Murrissippi Motors. It proved to be a bit of a challenge filming and driving, so hopefully the footage turned out okay. Back on Main Street, there's still work underway on the old Billabong shop. It doesn't seem like there's been much progress made in the past week as far as I can see, but hopefully we see some more progress on that soon. We did visit in the afternoon during the time when they were setting up for the Dreamworld Night Market, which, if you're not aware, is an event that they run every Friday and Saturday night, which means that the park is open for a little bit later and they have some food trucks and live music and some other things, which is always a great time to come and visit the park. It looks like quite a lot of progress has been made on the deconstruction of the claw and the construction site for King Claw, which is set to open in late 2025. I'm really excited to see when they start actually integrating some of the theming and construction elements for this new attraction. It turns out we came at a really great time because there was actually a crane which was entering the park, which they were getting guests to move out of the way for. And it looked like it was making its way right down Main Street towards the Rivertown area, which I'll get to soon because there definitely was something going on and we visited on the perfect day, so I look forward to sharing that with you later on in the video. While we were there, we had a quick peek in some of the different angles for the King Claw construction site, and it's really interesting to see how fast they've kind of torn down the old ride and dug up the land in preparation for the new attraction. King Claw looks like it's going to be really well themed to a Lovecraftian style sea monster, which I'm really excited for. I have made a separate video on that in the past and some of my thoughts and hopes for the theming, so make sure to check that out on my channel. I'm not sure if I will be riding the attraction when it opens because I'm not crazy about thrill rides and I don't want to vomit everywhere, but I'm excited to see how the theming turns out. The last piece of theming that does remain on site in the Dreamworld park is the sign for the original Claw ride, which I'm pretty sure they're going to reuse for King Claw. Next, we continue to make our way along Ocean Parade, and Shockwave and Tailspin are now open again after the maintenance period. I still haven't ever actually been on Tailspin before, but I'm always a fan of the shark hanging out the front, which reminds me of the Jaws ride at Universal Studios Osaka. Although overall I am a fan of Kenny and Belinda's Dreamland, I do find the blend between Kenny and Belinda's Dreamland and Ocean Parade a little bit strange, and I'm excited to see how they integrate King Claw. Serpent's Lair was also closed for maintenance. It is the quiet season, so these rides do need work on them every now and then, so it makes sense to close them down now. Next we moved along to Tiger Island. We didn't see the tigers today, but I am a fan of this new walkway that they've added to the tiger enclosure. They do have plans to overhaul the tiger enclosure, which will be interesting to see the progress of. Next I visited the tiger statue to see if it had any secrets to tell me. I am a big fan of the Tiger Island shop. It's very well themed, and I kind of hope that the Rivertown general store is eventually of a similar quality, because right now it's in a weird transition spot. Like a teenager going through an angsty phase, the Rivertown general store is still stubbornly holding on to its motor coaster phase, which hopefully we'll see some changes to soon. Up Up on this spot in Tiger Island, we now have a much clearer line of sight into Rivertown, which is really cool. You can see inside the station. I couldn't spot anything going on there today, but you do get a really cool view of the brake run for Jungle Rush and that final little bunny hop hill at the end. It's such a great looking land, I can't get over it, it looks amazing, and I also really like this angle because you can see straight down through the exit sign for Rivertown, and you can see the train station and Steel Taipan and the giant drop. I am also a big fan of this spot in Tiger Island, and I'm curious what will happen to it when they do their overhaul of the tiger enclosure. We also noticed this carbon dioxide tank sitting behind Jungle Rush, which is really exciting. That definitely points to a few types of theming elements which could be coming to the ride, such as some fog or mist. I also wonder what's going to happen to the old Tower of Terror queue building in this tunnel here. Looking at it, I can't help but get PTSD from something else that used to be at Dreamworld. I'm sorry to point that out to you, I hope it doesn't ruin your Dreamworld experience. It is funny thinking that it's only been, what, like a year or two now since they closed down the old Wiggles area to prepare for Rivertown, and the progress they've made is just amazing. I seriously can't believe how fast they turned that around. It was such a dystopian, rundown area of the park, and it's honestly made Dreamworld feel like an entirely different theme park to me, and I'm just so impressed with how they've bounced back, particularly through the COVID pandemic, which definitely would have put some delays on things, and they've really done a great job at turning the park around. I'm super impressed. It's definitely my favorite park at the moment on the Gold Coast. It's definitely set the bar really high for all the theme parks on the Gold Coast, as well as theme parks all around Australia, to be honest. I'm very excited to see what happens next. What's your favorite theme park? Let me know in the comments.
He's back.
It looks like Wally the Wombat has made a return after his mysterious holiday. I think Dreamworld added these characters to the park maybe last year or the year before, I can't remember now, but I am curious when they're going to integrate these characters into the theme park itself, maybe with meet and greets or shows. I'm sure they do have a plan, maybe it's for King Claw, maybe there's some kind of Lovecraftian characters or something, maybe not, we'll see. Next we made our way back down to Rivertown to see what was going on. There were lots of staff members leaving, so they clearly were setting up for something. What could it be? It looks like the crane that we saw earlier moving down Main Street was definitely on its way to Rivertown in front of Jungle Rush. So it seems clear that they're definitely doing something at the front of the ride, probably something to do with the gemstone, maybe water features or a waterfall, which was in the original concept. The area was closing down for the night market, so we moved up here to the ice cream parlor area to sit and stare from a distance. And after a short time, the crane got up and moving, and it seemed to be preparing to pick something heavy up. I'm usually not interested in construction or anything like that, but when it's at a theme park I do get excited because I know it usually has something to do with an attraction, with theming and stuff, so I was very excited to see what they were actually going to lift up there. It did start raining quite heavily all of a sudden, and they continued to work through the rain. I really have to hand it to Dreamworld that they definitely have been working super hard throughout all kinds of weather conditions to make the park even more enjoyable and immersive, so thank you so much to the hardworking construction workers who have been through all kinds of weather and conditions to make Rivertown what it is today and continue to add new things to the area. I can't imagine it would be fun being out there in the rain or the heat. I would hate it, so I'm super impressed. While we were waiting, I took a short break to walk around the night market and grab something to eat. It wasn't the busiest night market that they've had, but I'm still impressed that they've continued to put this event on every week, and I think it's a really smart decision to kind of put some more life into the theme park, and they're certainly the only theme park doing this. There's no other park that has a frequent nighttime event. I had a look around at the food trucks and ended up with the cheeseburger loaded fries from Dreamworld themselves. It was actually really tasty and definitely tasted like a cheeseburger. And I got back just in time to see the crane up in action, and it turns out they were actually lifting people. They were lifting workers up on top of Jungle Rush to do something. I can only assume it would be to do with the water effects, which many other people have pointed out. I'll get to that soon because lots of people sent through comments and thoughts. Or maybe it could have something to do with the carbon dioxide tank that I saw behind Jungle Rush. Everyone's thinking water effects, but what if it's actually fire? I don't think they'll put fire effects onto Jungle Rush. They could. That would be quite cool. I definitely don't think that's safe. It's been a long time since rides here have had fire effects. Bermuda Triangle at SeaWorld used to have fire effects, which was themed to a volcano after all, but I have some core memories as a child going up on that lift hill and feeling the heat on the back of my neck and being absolutely terrified. So yeah, maybe fire effects are not the smartest decision for a family attraction. Definitely cool, yeah, but maybe a little bit scary for the target demographic. As I mentioned in the original concept art for Jungle Rush, it did feature a large gemstone on top of the structure. It was slightly different in the design, and I've heard some mixed thoughts on the design of the gemstone that they landed on in the end. I personally think it's okay, but some people think it looks like a poo. I guess I can see that, but I'm sure it's going to look a lot better with the water effects if they are adding that, and when it lights up at nighttime, which I've heard it is supposed to, and that's going to look amazing. If you are interested in the backstory and lore and creative decisions behind Jungle Rush, you can go behind the scenes and read some of the design documents by Earth Story, which feature a lot of cool concept art and kind of hint at some possible additions that are still being made to the ride, because so far it's been very much in line with the original concepts, which is very impressive because usually a concept art is just kind of indicative of what something could look like or it could feel like. So for it actually to be so close to the actual design is extremely impressive and no easy feat, because anyone can let their creativity run wild and say, oh yeah, we'll have this amazing attraction and it's got this and it's got that, because at the end of the day it costs money to build attractions, unfortunately. So there's usually a lot of constraints between the creative vision and the end result. So amazing that they've managed to pull it off so well. I did ask what people thought would be being added to Jungle Rush, and lots of people left some interesting comments, so I'll read those out now. Maloney's Coasters says water effects in the turntable. Yes, Maloney, this would definitely be something that I would love to see in the ride. Like I mentioned, this was something that was featured heavily in the original concept art. It seemed to feature some large waterfall or something that was coming down in the inclined turntable room, which I think would be a really fun near-miss element. Also, shout out to Maloney's Coasters. He's one of the best channels covering theme parks in Australia as well as theme parks around the world, so definitely check him out. Josh Ski Legend Mate says a water feature, which definitely seems to be a recurring theme. I'm pretty sure that it is something water related, like you say, Josh. Claire Bear 806 says a few things, I reckon. More theming and the water being added. Yeah, the water is definitely a recurring theme, like I said. I'm not sure what theming they will be adding to the ride itself, and it's hard to tell from a distance like this what they could be adding. Some elements of the Jungle Rush ride do feel a little bit empty at the moment, which I took that with a grain of salt because I knew that it was technically unfinished and they were going to be adding more things. So I'd love to see some more theming elements made to the dark ride section of the coaster. Claire also said I think they were up there planning for the new waterfall, like marking out where they're going to put stuff. Yeah, it's hard to tell from a distance what they're actually doing up there, but maybe they're already further along in the process, and hopefully we'll see some water effects actually start to appear over the next week or so. Jordan Not a Whale says a mist effect and waterfall features and maybe some new lighting or theming. Except for the waterfall, which other people have pointed out, I do feel like mist would be really cool inside the Jungle Rush dark ride section or the inclined turntable section. Definitely some new lighting and theming would be a welcome addition as well. Ryan says I feel like they were installing a waterfall, but I wouldn't be mad at a nice surprise. It's hard to think what they could add to Jungle Rush that is unexpected and would catch people off guard. I think I mentioned in one of my last videos that a spider effect would be really cool. Maybe if a big spider animatronic dropped down from the ceiling before you go down one of the pathways, and something like that would be a great addition. I definitely feel like it needs some kind of animatronic inside the attraction. Coaster Yap says, definitely placing all the new water elements, which also explains why the little fountain in the queue is off. I didn't notice that the fountain in the queue was off. I mustn't have been paying attention to that particular piece of theming, but next time I go back, hopefully it will be on again, because it's very atmospheric and I love the sound of water in the queue. Randall695 says, well, the talk is a waterfall from the gem, so they took it off so they can install a system that the water is running underneath the gem down the rocks. Now that would look amazing, but still think the gem could be a lot better looking. Yeah, the gem seems to be hit or miss, doesn't it? I'm personally not too opposed to it. I think it fits in nicely. Maybe it could look a little bit closer to the original concept, which was closer to a blue diamond, but that could have been too similar to something pre-existing. Something that comes to mind for me is the crystals from the Crash Bandicoot video games, which were very popular when I was growing up. Thank you so much to everyone for leaving your comments and ideas. It's always a pleasure reading other people's perspectives and thoughts, and I'm intrigued to see if any of them come to fruition. I will be posting more questions like this on my social media, Instagram and YouTube community, so keep an eye out for that in the future. Thank you so much to everyone for watching this YumYum report from Dreamworld. Lots of exciting stuff on the way. If you enjoyed, please feel free to leave a like, a friendly comment, or subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time. I'd like to take a moment to give a special shout out and thanks to my channel members, Koala75 and Lee Donald. Thank you so much, Koala and Lee, for your support. It means so much to me that you enjoy my videos enough to support the channel in this way. The money that I do earn from my channel goes towards better equipment, which will help to continue making my videos higher quality. So once again, thank you so much. And for anyone who would like to become a channel member, this will give you access to videos early, as well as a special shout out and thanks. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.